Good morning to all of you. It's not morning, it's Friday evening, but I got a lot of stuff going on Saturday, so I'm pre recording a video for Saturday for the Fed League Flash. It's the 1st of July. Can you believe it? It's amazing how quickly time is flying by. All right, got a couple things I'm going to do. First, we'll go over transactions that have happened over the past 3 days. Things quieted down after the dispersal draft, as I kind of expected they would. But we'll lead into kind of what we're looking at next. All right. With transactions, the only noise being made right now is by teams in the Empire Division over the last 3 days. What was it? I think it was Monday. Um, Motor City had signed a couple players, but since then, with the dispersal draft going on Tuesday, that was the big focus. And then, of course, I did the reaction video on Facebook. Um, Go to the Fed League Flash on Facebook and see that. Um, my own personal reaction to how much each team helped themselves throughout the dispersal draft. First, though, now we're going to go to our transactions. Today, the Elmira, Huckleberries, whatever's, signed defenseman Eric Oganezov, who finished off the year last year with the Mammoth. Split time amongst three teams. Played most of the year in Delaware. Had a pretty good season. 41 games, had a goal and 13 assists. Now, it was minus 22, but most of that, keep in mind, again, was during his time in Delaware. And while he was there, he really asserted himself as a quarterback for the power play. His puck handling skills greatly improved. He cut down on his turnovers and unforced errors. So another defenseman in the stables in Elmira. A couple days earlier, they re-signed Tristan Mock, who played half the year in Elmira, half the year in Danbury. 31 games, 5 goals, 17 assists. Excellent penalty killer, excellent speedster. And then their one of their big guys on defense, Tim O'Connor, 29 games played, had 3 points. He's not going to get you a lot of points. He's a stay-at-home defenseman. That is his job. Was limited to 29 games. Unfortunately, battled through a lot of injuries this last year, but still managed to get in over half a year on the ice. So hopefully he will be healthy and able to contribute a little bit more. And now, again, Elmira right now, they have 2 big men on their blue line roster. They have Rasmus Asp and Tim O'Connor. So good on them. Binghamton, a couple days ago, released Josh Newberg and Justin Coachman. Coachman, a defenseman, Josh Newberg, a forward. Coachman's pretty well set on retiring. Newberg's leaning that way, last I knew, looking to go into the next chapter of his life. So Binghamton didn't want to tie them up with their rights or anything like that. So they were released, and then they signed Josh Fletcher, who was a forward, played 4 years in Manhattanville College, D3 program, and put up some modest numbers, looking to help provide some support scoring, secondary scoring for the Black Bears. And then yesterday, Danbury, the Hat Tricks, signed forward Ryan Terse, who is coming out of a couple of years at Nazareth College. And so, again, another case where Danbury is looking for secondary scoring, some support. So Ryan Terse is being asked to fill in that role. So that's what we have as far as what's been going on the last couple of days. Now, I mentioned on the Spotify podcast yesterday that, excuse me, Thursday, um, it looks like, according to a couple of sources that are inside the league, that the FPHL is looking to make some adjustments to the schedule, which was released to very little fanfare. But yeah, they're looking to make some tweaks. There's not going to be wholesale changes. There's not going to be a complete redo of the whole schedule, but hopefully they can make a few adjustments. Um, Now, what I did, because the main consideration for the way that the schedule was done was to try and cut down on travel costs. And what I did here, um, put a little mileage chart together. And so let me see if I can hold this like this. Okay, so we have like Baton Rouge, and then the distance to Binghamton, Carolina, Columbus, Danbury, Elmira, Mississippi, Motor City, Port Huron, Watertown, Virginia. And what I did is I put the red teams are Empire Division teams, the blue teams are Continental Division teams. So as you can see, just looking at Baton Rouge, uh, their travel is killer. I mean, obviously, geographically, it is what it is. I Before I did this mileage chart, I thought Baton Rouge's farthest trip would be Danbury. Nope, it's Watertown, almost 1,500 miles, one short of 1,500 miles. That's a lot of miles to put on a bus, and that's a lot of time spent on a bus. Um, Obviously, in special circumstances, teams can fly. I know a few teams did that, especially in the latter half of the year, to try and cut down on travel time. But flying's expensive. Obviously, a bus is going to be cheaper than a plane. So you can see, again, Baton Rouge's numbers are just yikes. Their closest opponent, of course, is Mississippi, 148 miles away. That's why the two teams are scheduled to play each other 21 times. It's also why Baton Rouge is not scheduled to travel to Danbury or Binghamton or Watertown. All right, it would be ridiculous. Obviously, Baton Rouge's uh, travel expenses are going to be a lot more than, say, Virginia. Virginia is a little bit more kind of central, kind of in the middle of everything. So you go across the bottom, and you don't see any gigantic numbers mileage wise. Pretty big, but obviously, um, the geographical rivals. That's really what drove the schedule. That's why you have, again, Baton Rouge and Mississippi playing 21 times. You have Port Huron and Motor City playing each other 18 times. Binghamton's playing Elmira 13, because you see these little numbers. You see 14.99 Baton Rouge to Watertown, and then you see Port Huron to uh, Fraser, 43 miles. Yeah, makes sense that you would play that team a lot more often. So, so these are the four closest geographical rivals here. Port Huron, Motor City, just 43 miles apart. Binghamton and Elmira, 54. Carolina, Virginia, 91. And then Baton Rouge, Mississippi, 148. That's manageable. But when you have, with Baton Rouge, 1, 2, 3, 4, if 6 teams over 1,000 miles away, that's a lot. So, I remember the first time I saw a chart like this was way back in the day with the AHL, and I went to a Binghamton Whalers game, and I was like, "It's 1,100 miles to Halifax, Nova Scotia. What?" You don't realize how big these distances are. But nonetheless, my point with putting this together is, again, you don't have, just using an example, Binghamton does not play Virginia on the schedule right now, which doesn't make sense considering they play Carolina 4 times, and two home, two away. So why wouldn't you also include a trip to Wytheville? Yeah, maybe even combine the two. It's like Friday night you play in Wytheville, Saturday you play in Winston-Salem. Um, this it's things like that I hope get tweaked and adjusted. But again, um, that's the word, is that sometime next week the league's going to see if they can make some adjustments, keeping in mind that due to available dates with the arenas, that may or may not be possible. But anyway, and again, the other difficulty with the schedule was you got an odd number of teams. You got 11 teams. That makes scheduling very, very difficult because, the big nights, Friday and Saturday, one team's not playing. At least one night, Friday night, one team's watching the other 10. Saturday, same thing. So obviously, the league had to get very creative. There was a lot more Wednesday dates, a lot more Sunday dates scheduled. Obviously, your big draws with attendance is going to be Friday and Saturday. So they tried to squeeze as many games in as they could with those days, but uh, again, it's an algorithmic nightmare, really. So the hope is that for the 24-25 season, we could get at least one more team in the fold. Scott Brand, who is the president of Motor City, said with the word that he's been getting, there's very good odds that the league could be 14 teams 2 seasons from now. But a lot of things would have to happen, obviously, and what looks good now might not look good 8 or 9 months from now. So that's the ever-changing landscape of minor pro hockey. So that is what we've got for today. Let me know. I know this was a lot of little numbers, and I'm hoping that you were able to kind of get a look at it and see, uh, what mileage your team is looking at, and maybe a little bit more understanding. Well, that's why we're not playing every single team this year. So I hope that helps. Um, I'm trying to sort the whole thing out and process the whole thing out and analyze it to death like I usually do. So, all right, so that is it. Let me know what you think about not only the possibility of the schedule being tweaked. Let me know um, if your team is not scheduled to play another team. Like for example, if you're a Virginia fan and you're going, wait a minute, why aren't we playing Binghamton? Let me know. Let me know who you would like to see on your schedule that isn't there at this moment. Comment down below. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to YouTube. Remember, everything's on Facebook. Try and post there during the week as much as possible. Fed League Flash is the page, and you can follow me there, as well as on Thursday. We always have a podcast on Spotify. Go to Spotify. If you haven't downloaded the app, it's free. Download the app. There's a lot of great hockey related blogs that are on there, blogs and podcasts. So go there, follow me at the Fed League Flash, and hope that you are able to utilize all the mediums and keep up to date. All right, I am Gary Ryan. Thank you again so much for watching and for your support. This is me for the Fed League Flash. We will talk to you again soon.